If you're like me, you take most of your training tips from the pros. Well, you're in luck. We've gathered Branch Warren, Jay Cutler, Chris Cormier, King Kamali, and Johnny Jackson together to discuss the deeper side of weight training. All right, Jay, let's give you the first question. What is it about training that you find so addictive?
Well, I've had an addiction for weight training, not necessarily bodybuilding, since I joined the gym at 18 years old. I was going to college at the time, and I had a lot of stress in my life. I was trying to work a full-time job and go to school at the same time. And when I used to go through my workouts, I would feel like that all that stress was gone. The 2 hours I'd spent in the gym daily at that point. And I think that's why I really fell in love with weight training. I still feel the same way today. I feel that it relieves a lot of stress. And when I get in the gym, it seems like it really, really clears my mind of what may be going on in my life and, you know, just day-to-day activities that, you know, run through your mind through the day when you're doing other things. You know, when I get in the gym, it's just my mind's totally clear, and it puts me in a different place.
You see like immediate gains, or were you one of the hard gainers?
No, I was actually a pretty easy gainer. I think I put on about 50 pounds my first year of training. But so of course, once I started weight training and seeing results, it became more addictive that way too. So here I was getting, you know, kind of a so-called therapy and making muscular gains at the same time and looking good and feeling good at the same time.
Anybody else want to grab that one? The addictive side of weight training?
I just like, because the girls like the way I look when I walk into the room, the ooh and ahs. It's pretty cool. So that's one way I'm addicted to it, is, you know, the appearance of it. And like I said, when you walk into a room, not too many people look the way we do. So when you walk into the room, it's like all eyes on you. So, you know, if you're at home, you don't get a lot of attention, or you have a lot of siblings, you don't get a lot of attention from your parents. You can go out and get a lot of attention from, you know, people around. Just, you know, walking in the room, like I said, and looking the way we do.
You get respect, right?
Definitely.
Basically, a lot of respect.
Well, yeah, definitely you get respect, but like I said, it's more of, you know, you like people look on, whoa, this guy looks good, or, you know, females come over saying, can I touch that? And you're like, nah, okay, good.
It puts you in an elite clique. That's how I saw it. You know,
Yeah,
you're
definitely.
warriors. That's what I, you know, that was the attraction for me. You know, you look at it, you look at these guys. When I was younger, you say to yourself, my God, you know, I wonder what they do, or how they, you know, how they go through life looking like that, and what they did to achieve something like that. It's a journey. And once you realize that it's a journey, then it's never ending. You never want to stop, and you become a part of this, almost like a brotherhood. So,
I always thought that it was gonna be like a finish line. So I was like, okay, I want to be like one of the best guys out there, or see how good I can be against this one or that one, like a one-on-one type of thing, like me, mano-on-mano type of thing. And you know, I just came to realize it's like you're never gonna be satisfied with the gains you made. So, you know, when I was younger, I was a lot smaller than a lot of my friends, so I wanted to train and get bigger and, you know, at least be the size of them, but I totally passed them up and just kept going.
It's like a blessing and a curse. You start getting what you want, and you want more and more, and you get hungrier and hungrier and hungrier. Sure. Is there ever an end in the, I mean, do you think you can ever get to a place where you go, I'm satisfied?
I don't think you ever get enough. I think you ever wake up and you look in the mirror and you say, this is what I want, I think you're done. You know, that's my motivation to go to the gym every day, to make improvement. You know, I was like a 135-pound little high school kid when I started weight training. You know, you start working out, you gain a few pounds, get stronger, and you want more and more and more. And I don't think you ever get enough. And it's just, I like it because it's a one-person sport. You know, if you're playing on a team, 10 people, you know, playing football, 10 people could be giving 100%. One person's giving 50% and you lose.
Yeah.
What you get out of it is what you put into it.
What you put into
So
it.
you guys are kind of the guys that, when the coach said there is no I in team, you said, damn right. One of those kind of things? All right, King, you're kind of an outspoken guy. Do you dress the same way in a gym? I mean, you're known as being...
you know, I just go back to what I saw when I was young, you know, and I grew up on Lee Haney and those guys. You know, to me it was spandex, do-rags, and tank tops. So I did that for a while until I started to see these guys train, and I realized I was the only out there who's that's training, dressing like that in the gym. So I kind of threw back a little bit. Now it's more, sweatshirts and pants and this
Still
blue
wear
stuff.
bushy socks and
Yeah, of
tight
course. You always
That never goes out of style, though, man.
you got to wear the bushy socks to make the calves look good.
What about music? You guys have any specific music you listen to?
I listen to rap music all day long. That's, you know,
Chris is a gangster.
I just try to keep it real, that's all.
He keeps us up to date on all the new music out there right now.
I heard some of it last night in the
Yeah,
car.
I think Tupac is coming back for real.
Whatever keeps you going, you know. It doesn't matter. To me, it's whatever that gives you that spark.
Exactly. It doesn't matter to me either. I can listen to anything, and I lift so heavy, I blank out anyway when I get ready to lift, so it doesn't matter what's playing.
Yeah, I don't hear the music much when I'm training
What
either.
matters is you got to get in and get the work done.
That's me. I don't even listen to
But
the
rap,
music, no matter
rap
what it
music
is.
is
That's
all
what
about
first
the
set.
struggle, though.
It's just
you know?
background noise.
Yeah.
Rap music is all about the struggle, and it's all about...
So it's clicking into some of the background that you came from in the first place.
Whatever gets your blood boiling.
So if I crank up the Sound of Music soundtrack, it's not going to affect you guys.
No, see, you listen to Hank Williams Jr. Tupac is sure. It's a big difference.
So when you're getting ready to do like a heavy set, is there anything in specific that goes through your mind?
Yeah, I'll think that, like, I'm the strongest man in the world right now, and I'm going to pick this up. That's what goes through my mind. And 9 out of 10 times, I'll pick it up. But totally, that's what I'm thinking.
I think of Ronnie. That's what I think of. You know, I've seen what he does. You know, I look at that and I say to myself, if he's a man, he can do it, I can do it. You know, try to push myself as much as I can. But the number one thing that goes through my mind is safety. I don't want to get hurt. So I'll give you a little quick prayer and keep me safe.
Yeah, you see some of these idiots in the gym and they just go crazy. They're not even paying attention to the form at all. And then next thing you know, they're in the hospital with a broken spine. Yeah. Anybody else?
I just think of my competitors, you know, usually, you know, when I'm training, I'm leading up to some sort of contest. And so I'm always thinking about the competitors that are closest. You know, Chris and I have gone back and forth, and
I was just about to say, I think about Jay a lot.
he's always on my mind, you know.
In what way are you talking about, though?
I try to think. I try to think.
Specify. We
I
want
try
to
to
know.
think about, like, you know, what Chris would be doing and what shots, you know, are his best shots against my shots, and what I need to improve. Because, you know, we're right back to back all the time. It seems like, you know, and we want to beat each other bad.
Yeah, so I didn't know you wanted to beat me so bad, but I think about you the same. I was thinking about what color hair he has. He's a little dark, he's a little lighter, you know. But no, he's a hell of a competitor. So I mean, I got to stay on my toes, and I mean, it's like we're like right there. You're like whoever comes in the best at that time usually is gonna win or whatever. So
Yeah.
What about training partners? You guys believe in training partners, training by yourself?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Branch is my training partner, so, you know, we go back and forth. You know, it used to be great for me because I was the strongest one in my group that I trained with. Now I got him, now it's like, geez, you know, I do something, then he'll do like 25, 30, 40 pounds more, about 5 or 6 more reps, and it's like, now what am I supposed to do, you know?
But that's been good
So
because,
it's
like,
pretty
you know,
cool.
his strong points are, you know, my weak points. Like, he got this outstanding deadlift. That was always something I liked behind on me. So, you know, training with him, you know, no one wants to get beat, so you always push him a little harder. Everybody steps up their game.
Yeah, it's true. It's like everything in life, I guess. You always want to be with somebody that's going to make you improve. If you're training with somebody that's weaker than you, you're always going to be the best. You're not going to push yourself, I guess, as hard.
You know,
I've found that the best training partners for me are not bodybuilders. These are guys that are excel in other sports. You know, boxers, I love training with guys who are, you know, into fighting because they have no respect for bodybuilders whatsoever. And I like that. I like him when he sits there and says certain things to me. You know, it's just that voice. I need to hear that voice of disrespect, which pushes me even more, you know. I'm the type of guy who gets stronger and excels with anger. So.
A little sadomasochism.
Hey, I like it. It works for me, you know, piss me off.
Whatever works.
I improve.
What about warming up? You guys totally got to believe in warming up, stretching, but, you know, before, during, after.
Now, absolutely.
Yeah,
you know,
they-
when
especially
you're
when you're
18
talking about
years old,
injuries.
it's a little bit different, you know.
Yeah.
You get in there and you start banging it out, but now, you know, when you're 40 like Jay, you gotta take it easy a little bit.
Plus, for you guys, an injury means being out for the season, probably, or something. You guys
It means no
massive.
paycheck.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a world of difference when there's a big paycheck at the end waiting for you.
Yeah, I can tell you
you're
about that firsthand. Don't get injured.
Yeah.
You know, I was preparing for the GNC, and about 5 weeks out, I was incline real heavy, and it just snapped. The frustrating part was I was using good form. I wasn't doing anything I normally wouldn't do. I warmed up and I felt great that day. And you know, for whatever reason, that just comes to the territory, I guess. And tore the truss up a little bit. But definitely, if you can't train, you can't compete, there's no paycheck.
What about like some training, unorthodox training methods? Is there anything you guys do that just only you do that you can think of?
I train with Charles Glass most of the time. And he pushes me a lot, but he totally changes around most of the exercises. Like you could see like something that's made to do a certain way, he's probably have you doing lats with it, lat pulls with it, or some kind of tricep movement, or some kind of angle that's kind of hit a certain body part a certain way, in a totally different manner from what you're used to. So I call that unorthodox.
Yeah, I do the same exact thing, actually. You know, I didn't know Charles did that. A lot of the hammer strength stuff that's made for chest, I use to row. You know, I face the machine, I use it to row, to hit my back. And just do what works for you.
Just make it up as you go.
There's a lot of variation in what we do. I mean, when you get to this level, you know, we're always trying to tweak our bodies differently and, you know, get that little bit extra every contest or every year. And I think, you know, now we've developed, you know, the mass, and it's just refining, and that's basically what's going to win professional bodybuilding contests. You know, what a lot of the guys see us doing, you know, the guys coming up, you know, aren't necessarily the best things for a beginner. You know, the beginner should stick to the core exercises, you know, the squats, deadlifts, bench presses, you know, shoulder presses. They don't need to get real funky with their training like some of us do now at this point.
It's like what me and King talked about earlier. It's like on any given day, any given show, anybody could be anybody. So you're always trying to tweak, trying to do something a little bit different to make sure you're in the lead, you know, not behind.
What about like training without your shoes on, like they did in the old days? You guys ever do that?
Jay likes that.
Jay, he's
You train without your shoes on? I heard you had like a seventh toe, though. Is that true?
My feet are too ugly. You know, I did in the beginning, to be honest with you, because I, you know, read about Arnold and I saw these guys in the magazines, but, you know, it's a little unrealistic nowadays, I think, and it's kind of like King wearing his striped spandex in the year 2000,
hot pink.
you know?
Hot pink striped spandex.
Flamboyant.
We're over that phase, and you know, for a while I know guys were using shoes with no soles that they think that it worked their calves better or whatever, but I only train my calves once a week, so I'm not really too concerned.
Unlike me, but that's another.
No, that was just.
We won't get into that.
I think he said it best. You know, we all saw pumping iron. We saw Arnold doing it. And, you know, you want to emulate your heroes. So.
You guys have any favorite machines you want to train on?
I'm a free weight guy more than
a machine.
Machines come into play probably the last few weeks. You know, when you're not going to really grow anymore the last 2 weeks before a show, and you don't want to risk injury, so you just go and use something that's safe.
Burn out time.
Yeah.
You guys obviously train pretty heavy. You use straps, chalk, all the powerlifting gear.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, guys. I don't know about you guys, but I'm hungry. Let's eat.
Let's go. Let's go. Thanks, man.
What's every bodybuilder's favorite thing besides sleep? Food, of course. It's time to find out exactly what does and doesn't go in the mouths of some of today's top pros. King, first question. What do you eat or drink before and after a workout?
Primarily before a workout, some type of complex carbs, oatmeal for me. I like the oatmeal. Maybe add some raisins in it. The creatine, Saltec, and then Pump Tech. And then immediately after finishing training, I hammer the Nitro Tech, about 75 grams, plus a little bit more Saltec. That's optional. You don't have to do it before and after, but I like to.
Let's take one of you guys. How about Johnny?
Same thing, pretty much like King said, a high complex carb meal to help me sustain my energy throughout the workout. Also, thermal gain is what I take also before a workout, you know, so I can maintain that high intensity level that I need when me and Branch is working out. Afterwards, I'll get high protein, some steak, a Nitro Tech also, or RTD I'll drink.
After a contest, is it hard to hold that contest shape? Because I know that the magazines all want you for that shape. Is it difficult to do that?
Of course, that's why a lot of us will drop our sodium, keep the foods, you know, pretty low in sodium, meaning, you know, stick to like the oatmeal and plain meat without any kind of seasoning or whatnot. Maybe some dry rice, potatoes, that kind of thing, and stay away from salty foods, you know, such as, you know, sauces and like soy sauce or teriyaki, you know, for chicken topping or whatever.
What about keeping your energy up whenever you're dieting for these shows and everything like that? What about you, Branch?
I take Thermogain. Take one in the morning, and I usually take it right before a training session. I'm keep going. You know, carbohydrates. You get your complex carbs in the morning, and you know, midday. That usually gives me enough energy to keep going. You know, the last couple of weeks when you're carb depleting, hey, it's gonna be tough. You're gonna be tired. You don't even feel like getting out of bed some mornings, but you know, get up and do that cardio session. But you just that's part of it. You just
Part of the game.
part of it.
Yeah, I usually stick to carbohydrate sources that would keep my energy up, sustain energy longer, such as, you know, oatmeal or sweet potatoes, something like that, rather than the simple sugars or, you know, white rice or something like that that burns through the body a little faster. I tend to eat a lot more oatmeal. Definitely before my training session, I eat the same thing as King had mentioned. You know, I usually have oatmeal in the morning with a banana and maybe, you know, a little equal and cinnamon on it.
It doesn't necessarily have to be plain oatmeal. You can have fruit and cream, apple cinnamon, you know. Doesn't have to be plain and disgusting. Just a little bit of sodium, yeah, exactly. You can. That's not too bad for what it has, sodium-wise.
So when you guys are eating out at restaurants, you guys eat normal food up until, like, say 12 weeks out, 16 weeks out, or you stick on a chicken, rice, and broccoli diet year-round?
I try to, when I eat in a restaurant, I try to make it like a sushi restaurant usually. Or, you know, like in Los Angeles where I train, that's where they have the Firehouse and the Fresh to Go, stuff like that, where you can actually eat out and eat a good meal, but you don't have to worry about, you know, too much of what's in it.
Plus, that's almost impossible to eat chicken and rice, you know, plain like that year round. It's a little ridiculous, but some people actually do that, you know, to stay lean and to look good. But, you know, in our job, you know, in our sport, it's not good for us to actually eat like that year round because you'll never make any major gains. You know, when
You
you're
want
off
some
season.
plain chicken breast?
Eating like that. Yeah, okay.
Top it off with some of that nice tuna.
When I go out to eat, I go to, you know, I like steakhouses and like sushi. And, you know, if I'm not dieting for a show, I don't touch chicken. I'll stay as far away from it as I can. I eat steak 4 or 5 times a day.
Yeah, I noticed both of you guys eat a lot of red meat.
Yeah, a lot
Is it
of
just a
fish.
staple of your diet, like year out? I mean, even before contest, you guys still eating red meat?
Yeah, I eat red meat up to the week of the show.
Yeah, definitely. Even dieting, I mix it up. Not just chicken, you know, lean steak, sirloin steak, fish. I like a lot of fish better. I'm a little burnt out on the chicken thing, so I like to eat a lot of fish.
And with him, I started eating more fish.
And all the seasonings, you can add seasonings and all that stuff then. Any special seasonings you guys like in specific?
Mrs. Dash's.
I use the salt-free Mrs. Dash a lot, and use a little garlic for seasoning, peppers.
I'll throw it on plain.
Saffron,
It's just less
paprika.
less stuff to put on it.
I like to grill mine to get some, like, that grill taste on it. It's like,
That's what I do.
And sometimes you don't need any season at all when you at that grill.
Charcoal grill.
Yeah, that grill.
Yeah, for some reason that smoky taste makes it easy to go down.
Yeah.
I
It
agree.
really does. So,
it's like you're eating something you're not supposed to.
man.
It's like being bad, but
Down
not
with
being too
that.
bad.
I'm down with that.
When you guys are traveling, are there any supplements you just won't leave home without, you just have to have there?
Protein drink,
Protein.
RTDs or Nitrotech. You need to, you know, that protein intake. So definitely, you know, bring along enough protein just to, you know.
Yeah, I always bring my protein with me.
Or bars.
Especially when you have like a good 7-hour flight, you know, and you got layovers and stuff like that. You need something or you just run over and get a nice pizza or something like that. Like some of these guys might do.
Some of these guys might do. What about resisting fast food temptation? I mean, it's you drive by McDonald's, do you guys stop and order a Big Mac?
Well, yeah.
Sometimes a man's got to do what a man's got to do. Yeah, you know, but nowadays, like even McDonald's and also In-N-Out Burger, they give like they make the lettuce the bun. It's not that bad.
Oh, that's right.
Not too bad, my man.
After Supersize Me,
I make real good use of that.
What about you guys?
Hell, I don't care. I'll just, definitely stop and get something. Whether the bun is good or not.
Don't beat around the bush or anything.
It's going down. That's all I know.
Everything's in moderation, you know. You just gotta use your head.
Yeah.
Don't go overboard. Your body craves certain things, you feed it, but you know, also know your limits.
Yeah, we take
Portion control.
Portion control.
I get emails. That's the number one question I get a lot from a lot of the kids out there, and my answer to them was always follow the 3-day on, 1-day off diet. For 3 days, stay on a pretty strict diet. On your 4th day, go ahead for your first and last meal of the day. Have whatever you want.
Even if it's like pizza or something.
Whatever
like
you
that?
want.
Yeah, I always tell people most of the time when I talk about nutrition to them is, you know, you don't have to eat like a bodybuilder getting ready for a contest. You know, we learn a lot of, you know, balancing your meals as kids. And if we actually, you know, exercise that, you know, as we get older and you just balance your meals, it would be so much better off. You know, just like I said, portion control and have balanced meals. You know, it'll be so, you know, amazing, you know, the difference that you can make in your body.
Plus, the definition of cheating for one person might be different to another person. You know, Jay, he eats clean. To him, cheating is just increasing your carbs, even if it's good carbs. You know, to somebody else, might be, you know,
Like me,
yeah,
McDonald's.
a devil cake, like me.
Burger King.
I'm the same way. No, I'm pizza, ice cream. As long as it's bad for me. I'll eat it.
Donuts.
Oh, I'm a
Chocolate cake.
donut king, man. You guys don't know.
Sweet potato pie.
3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, that's me over there. The drive-through.
What about weighing your food? Obviously, speaking about McDonald's, you're not weighing a Big Mac, but like say 12 weeks, 16 weeks out before a contest, do you get the scale out and actually weigh the food?
You know, I think when I first started off, I was you know, as a teenager, I was real obsessive. You know, I had a little scale and I weighed out every little ounce. And I quit doing that a long time ago. You just pretty much look at it and know how much you need. And
Just guesstimate?
Because like we talked about earlier, you know, your body changes from show to show, from year to year. So you might need a little bit more than what you're measuring out. So you end up having to eat a little bit more anyway. So you can measure all you want. But if it's not enough for your body, you're going to have to feed it anyway, feed it enough.
you know, the mirror
You
is
know?
your best skill. If you look in the mirror, don't like what you see, then you need to adjust your nutrition or whatever.
I think the closer you get to showtime, counting your carbs is the most important thing.
Right.
That's the #1 staple in your pre-contest preparation. You want to know how many carbs you're taking in. So that's when you start counting, actually.
Now you weigh your food.
I weigh everything, yeah, just by habit.
Just weigh it to the ounce. Now, what are 3 misconceptions about bodybuilding and food and like what you should or shouldn't do?
Lifting lightweight to get cut.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest misconception. I think when you're getting ready for a show, you need to lift light, you know, to get cut up, and it's nutrition and cardio. That's what's going to get you in shape. Not lifting lightweight.
Yeah, I would say not eating after 5 o'clock. That's a huge misconception. I mean, it goes by your schedule.
Yeah, it's like every 3 hours, you know, pretty much every 3 hours, as long as you're awake, from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, you know.
You
so.
can taper your carbohydrates off or eat, you know, less starchy carbs or whatever later in the day. Replace it with green vegetables, broccoli, asparagus, that kind of thing. But, you know, you still need your protein every 3 hours, especially if you're a weight trainer, and especially if you're getting ready for a bodybuilding contest.
I would say like more is not better. A lot of times people are like overtraining and over diet, over everything. They think that the more they do this or that, the better off they're going to be. And sometimes it works the opposite way.
So as far as the starchy carbs go, there's that big misconception that a lot of people will eat a huge dinner at night. That's actually a truth, right? Because a lot of people eat those 3 solid meals every
Well,
day.
they don't even eat 3 meals. They eat just a large dinner and maybe, you know, donuts for breakfast or coffee. But the average person, even if they're not a weight trainer, should be eating 4 or 5 small portions a day, not just loading up. And that's why we have a weight epidemic in the United States, because people have no idea what kind of diet they should be on or what even a protein and a carbohydrate is.
So
Yeah.
in
To
a
lose
nutshell-
weight, you should increase the amount of food you eat.
Keeps
in
your
a day.
metabolism up.
That is absolute
You need fiber.
paradox of what people believe, but it's true.
Especially as you get older, you kind of stay on that regimen a little bit more because you know naturally your metabolism will start slowing down the older you get. So you can kind of find some way to tweak it or get it back started up, you know. So
You got to eat to lose weight. That's the hardest thing to drive through somebody's head. Because, you know, everybody thinks, oh, you don't want to lose weight, don't eat.
but I think they're thinking about McDonald's
Yeah.
or you know what I mean, some Mexican food or something like that, and they're like, I can't eat like that, you know. All that. Well, you shouldn't eat like that at all. You know, it's like eat the right foods, you know, and then it'll make a difference.
If they were going to get on a balanced diet, what would you say is the #1 thing that they should know? The 6 meals a day, keep the protein up, keep the carbs up. I mean, what's a diet that you would give these guys?
Protein shakes in at least once or twice a day. Maybe you're, like I said, I made my best gains when I learned the importance of protein.
So like 3 meals and then maybe 2 protein shakes in between those 3?
Well,
or
they
something
have to
like
get
that?
a proper diet down, you know, and that means getting up in the morning, first of all, and eating a breakfast, which a lot of America does not do. And a lot of kids rush off to school and they grab, I mean, I was one of them in high school. I used to eat donuts every morning and when I got to school.
Coffee cake.
Because I was rushing to get out. And you should sit down and have, you know, I would suggest like wheat, you know, I know it's not the best thing, but, you know, the oatmeal King mentioned, you know, the packets of oatmeal with the little sodium and sugar flavoring is you know, a good way to start, and maybe
Step
a
in
little
the right
protein.
direction.
Yeah, some eggs.
Egg whites.
Even eggs, even whole eggs for a younger kid.
Consistency
A
for
little
the
bit of
kids.
peanut butter in there.
The number one thing I would recommend to anybody starting out is stay consistent.
They shouldn't even be in the gym before they, I mean, the diet should be first.
Right.
Before
Definitely.
weights, because if you're going to go in and you're going to, you know, glue yourself down with weight training and not have a proper diet, you're wasting your time.
With the amount of muscle that's around this counter, the kitchen is a very scary place to be. If you've ever considered stepping on stage for a bodybuilding competition, there's a lot you need to know first. Renowned trainer Charles Glass has agreed to go one-on-one with me to help you get ready for your first bodybuilding competition. How's it going, Charles?
It's good.
Good. Okay, first question. What's a reasonable amount of time for an amateur bodybuilder to get ready and train and diet for a competition?
It just depends upon how long he's been training prior to this. Normally, it's going to take you at least a good year and a half to get ready.
So would you consider competition training different than, say, normal training?
Yes, quite naturally, because competition it requires a little bit more intensity into your training, whereas the other one's like recreation. You know, you're having fun, so it's different.
Would you say training style is dependent on the body type? Like an ectomorph is going to do more sets, less sets. What would you say about that?
You know, no matter what you are, endomorph, ectomorph, or mesomorph, you still got to train hard. And the intensity level is going to be up no matter what type. So, you know, it's got to apply yourself.
So like an ectomorph would need to necessarily train heavier, as an endomorph would train lighter or anything like that. That has nothing to do with it.
Just smarter.
Besides the diet, because the diet, as we all know, is so important, what other aspects would you say would go into somebody getting ready for a competition?
Yeah, well, you got your cardio and you got the resistance training. You know, the diet's a big part of it, but you need all factors to complete the whole body.
So I guess if you're heavier, more fat, you do more cardio, and you know, obviously if you're in leaner shape, you do less cardio and heavier resistance training, something like that.
Oh, yes, you'll balance it out. It just depends on what your body type, I mean, the way your body looks at the time. Either you're going to do more or less of one or the other.
So somebody like me, I'd have to do a lot of cardio and a lot of weight training to really do anything.
No, not really. You can balance it out.
Would you recommend a first-time competitor to hire a trainer?
Yes, because that way, when you come in, you're not feeling good, they want to train that hard, this guy's going to push you through. Normally, what people do, they come in, they don't feel good, they slack up on the training. You don't want to do that if you're training for a show. You want to come in and put as much as you can into your workout each time.
A lot of people think that bodybuilding is a very individualistic sport, but wouldn't you say that the support of your family, your friends, your coworkers, wouldn't that make a big difference in a person getting ready for a competition?
You know, even though you're the only person on stage, but you still need that support of the family. The family is very important in any sport that you do. You need the backing, so when you come home, you're tired, your food is prepared for you, whatever. But you need that support, whether it be friends or family.
Should competitors all follow the same training style, dieting style, or is it more of an individualistic thing for each person?
Very much so, because everybody's different. You gotta understand that. So when you can get that into your head, you understand that you need this, I may need something totally different from what you need. So it all applies different.
What about foods? I mean, what type of foods can a competitor expect to eat?
Well, if you're competing, you wanna have a balanced diet. You wanna have your protein, your fat, your carbohydrates, and also your fiber. Without all those components, you can always either clog yourself up or you can do something wrong. So it's best to have all components in so that your body can grow.
But wouldn't somebody who's just trying to get in shape have that same diet? I mean, would you, if you were getting ready for a competition, add a few more meals? Or would you subtract a few meals, but wouldn't you stay pretty much on the same diet year-round? Or what's your take on that?
I'm a firm believer that you have to get out of shape in order to get in shape. I'm not talking about way out of shape, but just get out of shape so that your body can grow. You got to be able to put on some mass in order to get your body where you want to be. You can't start from point B to get back down to point A. You want to be at C to get down to B, so your body will grow in between.
To have that bulk up phase that everybody talks about.
Not really bulk up, but just build up. I like to call it different.
What type of food should a first-time competitor stay away from? I mean, like Diet Cokes, condiments, spices, just anything you can think of.
Bodies are different, you know. I mean, I can probably get away with a lot more than the average person, and you probably can get away with a lot more than the average person. But now, if you come and have a guy come in that's slightly overweight and real sensitive to spices, you know, you got to stay away from that type of stuff. You know, I mean, it depends on how much cardio he's getting in and how much training he's actually doing. I prefer people to do their training first and then go do their cardio, because you can burn the fat a little faster for you. So if you're doing everything right, you can have the spices, you can have a lot of other condiments in there before you get to the show. If you're like 6 weeks away, cut some of that stuff out. That way your body will grow and you'll get a lot tighter. And that's what you're trying to do.
But would you say, like, regardless of what type of shape you're in, you should always stay away from, like, the breads, the pastas, the potatoes, the white rice, or mass amounts of those things?
In the beginning, you got to understand, you got to put those things in order to get some size on your body so you can have something to work with. Now, if you don't have that on, you start working at, say, point B, and you should be at point A, you're never going to make it. So you want to get up to here so you can come back down and be just right.
So then how often do you think you should weigh yourself? Or should that even be involved in the competition side of things?
Weighing yourself should not be a factor at all. What you want to do is weigh yourself periodic, but not every week. All that does is discourage you from trying to get to another goal, because you're not gaining weight fast enough, and then you end up doing something stupid, and you don't want to do that. You want to try to take your time and just grow, grow, grow. Let the mirror be your guide for a while.
So how important do you think posing is? I mean, should you practice posing? If you should practice it, for how long would you practice it? What's your spin on that?
I think to practice posing is an art itself, and you have to be on stage. You got to understand this, and you got to be able to show those muscles off. So if you can get in for an hour a day, that's great, but you need that time in there, because understand this, if you're trying to show a double bicep and you have your arms in the wrong position, they don't see the muscle. So you need to know how to do it, and it should be painful, because if you're not doing it right, it won't be painful.
Do you feel like posing's overlooked these days? I mean, you look back in the old days, and it was like an art form, and a lot of people are starting to get away from that. What's your feeling on that?
Yes, I think they lost that art of posing. We still have a few guys out in the field that, you know, actually pose. You need choreographed routines, and most guys go up there and they're robots, and you don't want a routine like that. You don't be able to flow. You don't see some kind of fluidity in the whole routine.
Yeah, it does kind of separate the athletes that way.
Yes.
What about the hair on the body? Should that be removed? From where would you say you should remove it?
Well, any hair that can be seen, you want to take off, simply because you don't want to have anything to obstruct your skin from showing through. That hair will have like a little glycerin to your body, and you won't be able to see it. So you want your body to show at all times. So the definition or whatever you need to show is going to show. So anything that's there, take it off.
So that'd probably be why these guys get so tan too. I mean, everybody you see is so dark. Does that bring out the muscle density? Does that bring out the muscle vascularity?
All the above. You see everything when you have the tan on. If you come on that pasty, you won't see anything. I don't care how good a shape you're in, you will not see it. So you need to be dark on the stage.
Back to the dieting. One thing I have a problem with is cheating on my diet. It's like every time I started to diet, I'd start to get these urges. Do you have any advice on getting rid of those urges?
Well, in the beginning, you know, it's okay to come off the diet every now and then. You have these low days and a high day. That high day is when you want to have at least one good meal that you can enjoy, and then go back to your diet. But you got to understand, as you get closer to your show, you can't do that. So you can start being disciplined enough yourself to back off. You know, learn how to eat things that will fill you up but won't smooth you out.
So if you're going to say like things you would enjoy in your diet, would you say pizza is something that you could enjoy in your diet?
In the beginning, you can have that pizza, you know, that one meal that you're going to have on that high day. If that's what you want, you have it. But like I said, once you get closer to that show, you got to back off. You get something that's going to fill you out more inside, so you can't get anything else in there. You'll feel full but not satisfied, but at least you're full. So like popcorn, air pop popcorn is one of the things. You can drink water with it or expand. You can't get enough other food in there because you're full.
Yeah, air pop popcorn is exactly something I think about when I cheat personally. Ice cream, pizza, all kidding. So at what point would you say you have to stop doing those? 6 weeks out, 4 weeks out?
That depends upon your body. I would try to at least stop 6 to 7 weeks out, that I'm not cheating at all, and I'm just going straight from my diet and staying on the diet.
Are there any supplements that you'd recommend taking or even not taking for somebody getting ready for a competition?
No, you need as many as you can get. I mean, I like my protein, so I always try to take Nitrotech. You know, it fills me up and satisfies me, and I'm not gaining the extra fat, so it's great.
So if you're cutting back on certain foods, though, would you need to replenish that with different minerals or multivitamins or vitamin C, or would you up those types of doses of certain things?
You definitely up those doses because you need it. You need your body to have all the tools you can get, and that's one of the good, the good supplements you can take. So take them.
What about stage fright? I mean, is there anything you can do to avoid that?
Going through your posing routine is going to get you out of the stage fright. You have people in there watching you all the time, so you're sort of used to that, and so that takes you through that stage fright.
So you should like get up in your Speedo in front of everybody in the gym and just start posing for no real reason.
No,
just to get you-
basically go into a posing room, you do that. We have a posing room, you go into the room and you practice. Eventually you go into where they have the spinning classes are, and you have a couple of your friends and they're watching from there, and then it's easier.
In front of the spinning class?
No, your friends, not the spinning class.
What about tips when you step on stage? Like one of the first things you step on stage, you're making that first public appearance. Is there anything you can do to just, kind of stand out from anybody else, to kind of show yourself to the judges, to make them kind of look at you?
Always try to hit your poses and look at the judges at all time. Make sure they're looking at you. You want to draw attention to yourself while you're on that stage, not to someone else.
So you're paying more attention to the judges than the audience. You're trying to look them in the eye.
You glance at the judges and also glance at the audience, but you basically want to see what the judges are looking at. So you want to hit that shot really hard and make sure the judges are looking.
I guess look really confident too. You see some of these people on stage and they just look scared to be there, and you automatically go, yeah, that poor guy, yeah, he's not going to win though.
That's only because you haven't been practicing posing. See, that confidence comes while you're practicing, and you know how you look already.
So do you have any other resources recommended for bodybuilders getting ready for a competition?
Basically what you want to do is you want to try to read up on as much as possible. Try to read up on posing and get you a good trainer so you can have good resistance training. The cardio is going to be important in nutrition, so find a good nutritionist, a good trainer, and read up on your posing to get you a choreographer.
What about a mantra or words? Is there anything that you live by? Is there a saying that represents Charles Glass?
Train hard to stay home.
Man, that's the kind of information that makes me want to get back on stage. What do you say, Charles? You want another student?
I'm ready. Let's go for it.
Yeah, I'll call you later.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.